on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We have Renikia, Adria,
McKaylin.
Welcome to this week's show, number 65.
Welcome. Hey, Miss Tanika, Reese's, Jonathan, Chica, Jinx. Oh, I see you all. Y'all are all there. Hey, Michelle, long time no see. And Ayoko. You're not running late. You're right on time. Welcome, guys. You are part of the 65th live Flippinar, brought to you by none other than Ty the Flipman Taylor. We encourage you to invite a friend. As he said, we are live across Facebook, Instagram, the Facebook group that we have, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We also have, as he said as well, the lovely Miss Renikia Williams. We will allow her to introduce herself if you are not familiar with the services that she's able to provide for you. As always, you post your questions. I read the questions and they will be answered. Keep in mind that your location does typically matter. So tell me where you're from. And I may not be able to read your screen name. Let's see here. Phil and Gabin. Yo, how y'all doing? We're doing great. And we have McKaylin, our 8-year-old real estate investor who's joining us today. And she's taking over my job. I got voted out. And I said no. I said yes. So she wins. And so she's here. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and start posting your questions. But without further ado, Miss Renikia, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to be on the number 65th Flippinar show. Super excited to be here. We're looking to just give you the experiences and the education I have learned over the last 15 years. Been in real estate investing and financial advisory over the last 12 years, been studying for 15 years, and just looking to show you all strategic ways on building wealth using through the asset class of real estate, but also finding the resources and the money that is needed to really get out here and build true wealth.
All right, guys, there you have it. Again, as we get further along, we will discuss Renikia's services a little more. But as of right now, we're going to be answering your questions in regards to wholesaling with little to no cash or credit. It is possible to do so. This process in real estate can change your life. What you would be able to do, is life-changing money that you can make, is drop the mic on your 9 to 5. That's what I should say. Drop the mic on that 9 to 5. How do you do that? By watching the 270 plus videos that Ty has available to you. If you need mentoring, he has that available as well. Joining our Facebook group, which has over 16,000 members now, that you can communicate with daily and ask questions. So, you have anything to say, Ty, before we go into this?
They say they can't hear us. We can't hear anything you're saying.
It's always on Facebook. Hey, Crystal, I see you.
Yeah.
And Tyrone, another Ty from New York. That's the Ty from New York. Crystal, how am I echoing? I'm on the good stuff. Wow.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and answer the question while our technical guy, him, works out the kinks. Let's go ahead and get started. Matt Romero on YouTube wants to know, how do you deal with contracts and out-of-state owners?
Yeah, that's a great question. No matter where an owner is, you could still close a deal. It's called an out-of-state closing. But when you're dealing with a contract, I mean, we're in the world of email and e-sign anyway. I don't know the last time I printed out a contract. Because everyone just email it, someone signs it on their phone or on the computer, they send it back to you. It's the same concept. Just send it to them via email. They can sign it via email, or print it out, scan it back in, send it back over to you. But when you get to the closing table, it's called an out-of-state closing. And what's going to happen, usually the docs need to be prepared about 2 to 3 days, or the closing docs, which is the HUD and the closing documents that you sign off on is prepared 2 to 3 days before closing. They will send that or email the package out to the owner that is not in state. They will sign it, notarize it in the state that they are in, and they will overnight the package back to the closing attorney. And that's how you do an out-of-state closing.
All right, so there you have it. Seems pretty simple. Don't let out-of-state buyers and or sellers deter you from making a deal. It can be done, and it's nothing new. And most title companies can help you and tell you how to handle it. Lavelle McCaskill says they're hoping to flip their first house tomorrow in San Antonio, Texas. So good luck on that. Be sure to let us know how that turns out for you. Go get that check, Lavelle. Right. Sydney A., Mr. Sydney from H-Town, drove for dollars this past weekend and compiled a list of over 100 vacant homes. I want to skip trace and find the owners. What's a good service to skip trace in bulk? Dun, dun, dun.
Well, before we answer that question, I tried to instruct her to.
Oh, I was getting to it.
Oh, well.
Not fast enough.
Below any of the video, this is a new feature that YouTube offers, or you can sell some a pair like t-shirts. So if you're interested in any of the t-shirts that we wear, or you've seen the Bob, the Fear of Being Broke t-shirts, this one here, drop the mic on that 9 to 5. Any of them. So below the video, there should be a button that says shop. It'll take you to the page, or it has another option there where you can browse, each shirt or whatever. So if you're interested in the shirts, it should show up under any pretty much video on the channel, and you can take advantage of them there. So just wanted to mention that. But what was the question?
What good service to skip trace in bulk?
Well, skip tracing is something different than just doing a phone number pin. Renikia, that's more of her thing as far as the skip tracing.
Yes, so you have TLO, you have LexisNexis, you have People Search, you have Locate Plus, Locate People. All of these are skip trace services. They all have different price range. Be aware that what you pay for what you get. There are free skip tracing services out there, but most likely the numbers may be wrong. So you just pay for what you get. I like Locate Plus. Locate Plus. People Search is a little bit cheaper, but all of those are great services to help you find a homeowner.
All right, so you guys, I hope you wrote a few of those down. If not, remember it at about the 25-minute mark I'm sorry, not 25-minute mark. Oh my goodness. About the 10-minute mark in this 65th Flippinar, and you can take a moment to jot down those skip tracing services. Tyrone Watler, who's joining us on Facebook, says, I have a homeowner that contacted me that is interested in selling his mother's home, but she took out a reverse mortgage and they owe about what the house is worth to the bank now. How can I make this work? There's also 6 siblings involved. Now, Renikia, I know you always say the numbers have to make sense. Okay. Obviously, if the house has a reverse mortgage, that's the worth of the house, the numbers don't make sense. Is that about right?
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't make sense that she owed what it's worth. So, and the way to reverse mortgage is just like any other mortgage. It has to be paid off if the homeowner sell the property. So if the property is worth what the homeowner owe on it, then like you said, the numbers don't work. It doesn't make sense. And you probably just should, you shouldn't work on this one. It just doesn't make sense because when you sell the property, it's worth what she owed. So it wouldn't really work.
All right, so Tyrone, maybe not a deal there. Crystal, what can't you hear?
They said they have the trouble hearing Nika, so that's why I moved the mic closer to.
Okay, so give us a second to see if that gets any better, you guys. Carla Jackson wants to know, how can I find a mentor in Houston to help me learn flipping? I am a realtor. Well, you already got one leg up. That's a good thing. You're a realtor. You have access to some information there. But of course, if you're joining us here on Flipman show, the Flipman is available. It doesn't matter where you are. You can message him on at flipman.net, or his number is posted all over the videos, but I will mention that again later on in the evening.
Well,
but
let me just comment on that. If you're looking for a mentor in your local market, you're just going to have to network and hope somebody is kind enough to help you. Good luck, because a lot of people don't like to share this information. So again, good luck, but you're going to have to get out there and network, go to your real groups, and maybe you'll meet someone that'll help you. But a mentor technically doesn't, well, I know they don't have to be where you are to do this. This is not brain surgery. But again, if that's your goal, then you're going to just have to get out there and network, and hopefully you'll meet someone that'll help you for free.
Go into the Facebook group and post something, and maybe there's other members inside of the Flippinar Nation that is in Houston, and all you all can just meet up somewhere at a Starbucks and see how you all can work this business together.
Oh, that sounds good. Like a little networking, hey, in little areas. Yeah. But all I was going to suggest to Carla is to just make sure she's utilizing all the free information that is provided out there before finding a mentor, especially paying for a mentor. Just you have just so much free information, free videos that are available to you. So just make sure you're trying those resources first. Hey, Veronica. Yes, Young Princess is here and on her duties. Veronica is a very, very faithful viewer there on Facebook. Lupac on Instagram wants to know, how do I determine which zip code to wholesale in? Please help.
That's actually a good question. I mean, you have to know your backyard. I mean, I think part of, getting out there to begin investing is knowing your area, knowing what are the hot areas, knowing what are the hot pockets in your backyard. So I would say just knowing your area and educating yourself on the area that has the most renovations and new construction, and look at areas that have vacancies. And what do you think, Ty? You answer that?
Well, we can bring this up.
Okay.
One of the features in the Deregulator, aka PropStream tool, is it has a heat map, and it'll detail recent transactions of sales as far as the number of sales within a month period, 3 months, 6 months, and goes up to a year, I think. But it also will show you the areas that are highly attractive as far as rental areas. So with that information, now you're equipped to zone in. It'll allow you to zone in even more to specific areas of your market based on how hot or cold those are. So if there are a lot of sales there, then there's going to be a lot of flipping there. Just the way it is. If there are a lot of rentals, well, if it's a hot rental market, same thing. You're a lot of trends. So it doesn't have to be just red hot. It can be the next level down, and you still should be good. So that's one way. If you don't want to engage in the survey, even though it has a free trial, and you probably need to watch the tutorial video on the site. But one of the things you can do is just tackle Zillow, and you can break your market down via zip code to see how many transactions have occurred within a certain time frame, again, such as 1 month, 90 days, 6 months, and so on. And you can see the number of transactions that occur. So those normally are going to be your areas where the activity is occurring, which I actually have a video on that. It's choosing the right area to start wholesaling or whatever. So you can just go to YouTube and choose the right area and Flipman. But again, you can go to Deregulator.com. You can see the video there. And part of that hour and 45-minute video initial training, it shows you how you can use that heat map to identify areas that you may want to target.
All right, so Flipman, everybody wants to know, share them chips, yo, what that says and what you smacking on. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, am I being rude? That's all I need to know. Am I being rude? This Flippinars is brought to you by Cheetos.
No.
The cheddar jalapeno.
Oh my God. Yeah.
These are good.
Oh wow. That's how she got on the show, y'all. I'm just gonna put it. She bribed them with snacks. She brought them.
She brought snacks.
Right. That's how that worked. Okay, so and Lavelle mentioned that he was going to be closing the deal in about hopefully tomorrow. And I just want you guys to know, he says that he's only been in this for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in the business. Now that's not. Let me say, most people don't do a deal within that first 30 days, but it's phenomenal that Lavelle is. So you most definitely keep us posted on what you do. And hello, Eric. He says, "What up, Flips? Good day, hey." And of course, my Rennie. He's just giving us all nicknames. And he's with it too. Scotty Free is on YouTube, and he says, "Ty, I just can't seem to find any deals. What's going on? Can I get some help?" Now, Scotty, I only read that because you're not going to get an answer right now. Because the follow-up question always is, every week when somebody asks that, what are you doing? We need to know, what are you doing? Are you putting out bandit signs? Are you sending out letters? Are you cold calling? Are you driving for dollars? And if you are doing any of those, how much of that are you doing? How many signs you're putting out? How many calls are you making? How many letters have you sent? And then, with that being said, how many calls are you receiving, and what's your location? What's your popular? All that stuff matters. So when I tell you guys, make sure you tell me your location. Give me a little bit more grit to your question, so it can be better catered to you. So Scotty Free, post that on YouTube so we can get your question answered. Let's see here. Estella says, Renikia, when you offer a seller a price that they agree upon, how do you get them to understand that they won't be getting paid that day without revealing that I have to find a buyer or don't have the cash? Is it reasonable to think that somebody selling, I'm just going to say that at least $5,000, $10,000. I'm not going to just hand you some cash and we switch the keys. Most people understand they didn't buy the house that way.
Right. It's a given. I mean, people know that you're not going to just bring a $30,000, $40,000 check or cash in a briefcase. I mean, you have to help them to understand that there's a due diligence period, and I have to bring my contractors and people in to assess the repairs and the rehab. And that's one thing. And they got to understand that we got to pull a title. It has to go to an attorney. You have to do a title search. You have to clear the title. That's always usually a week or 2 weeks. To you, it's 2 or 3, maybe a week process. But to your buyers, it's always at least a 2 to 3 week process when you make those suggestions on what you need done. I always want to over exaggerate what you need done. Even though you know title can be done in 2 to 3 days, you want to let them know that's a 2 to 3 week process. And also we need a few days of due diligence. So, and they will get paid at the closing table. And you will let them know that they will be in contact with the attorney, and the attorney will pull the title, and they will be able to get their money or wire their funds directly to the attorney office.
All right, so Stella, hopefully that answered you there, but it should be reasonable that they would not expect, the money to be changed hands right then and there. So make sure you explain that you have due diligence to do that. Yes, you're most definitely interested, but there's other things that you need to check out.
And if you're confident in your sale, they shouldn't question if you have the money or not. You always have the money according to the contract. So if they're questioning that, it's probably because of your demeanor. You don't sound like you have the money. You don't sound confident in the sale. So you got to come to the table with confidence just as much as you need them to sign that contract.
Okay. Rosny says, I received a call from a seller today and told me his price is firm over the phone. I haven't seen the property yet. How should I approach this? Is that what we would call a motivated seller, or do you give up, or do you do some follow up?
Well, the price could be firm, but it still could be a deal.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to give us the numbers.
Okay.
You know, I've done plenty of deals where they say it's firm and it's firm, but the numbers work.
Yeah, but what about the part that she hasn't even seen it yet?
Well, yeah, it's still, you know, the way I like to do. If the price works over the phone, even if they say firm, the price works over the phone. Now, once I get out there, it might not work over the phone. I mean, it may not work anymore. But the number that they've given me, it works over the phone. I just need to validate based on me asking her what's the condition of the property. You know, is it close to what she said? So, you know.
Right.
What do you think, baby girl?
No, you're absolutely right. If the numbers, if the firm number works over the phone, it's you know, it could be a deal, and you just conform to it. Sometimes you just conform to it if the numbers is close, just so you can get out there and then let the seller know that, hey, I know you're firming this price, but after I come out here and look at it, the repairs is a lot more extensive than you think, and then try to renegotiate that price. But if the price over the phone is way more than what you know you're gonna pay for it, then it's just not a deal. You know, if you know that the more you want to pay is $30,000 and they're at 60, you may be wasting your time. You know, you have to assess that. If it's worth you going out to the property to assess the repairs so you can renegotiate the price.
Okay, Hardev Singh on Facebook. Read it then.
Have you got a video or information on what you have got in the closing contract or document, like who gets what amount, what else needs to be?
See, them glasses will come in effect right now, huh? What else needs to be? And is this document for the attorney and escrow? So basically what Hardev wants to know is there a video in regards to the closing contract document and your
one pager?
Closing details sheet.
Yeah, closing details sheet. And what else needs to be mentioned on that?
Yes.
Yes, there's a video.
Yeah, just go to YouTube, closing details sheet, Flipman, and it's just pull up.
Okay, let's see here. We're gonna give you another shot.
A little shorter.
And a little shorter.
Yes, to answer his last question, you do send the contract and the closing documents to the attorney.
Okay, the Confident Crypto has a question. Go.
I just got my shipment of 100 abandoned signs. Besides posting them, any info for me?
Read that back so they can hear.
All right, so good job, big girl. I just got my shipment of 100 bandit signs. Besides posting them, any other info? So anything else he needs to know before he goes and starts putting out these signs?
Well, if it were me, you just don't want to get out there and just go crazy with signs if you ain't never did it before. Worst thing to happen is you put out 100 and 100. You put out 100 one day and all 100 of them are down the next day, right? So get out there, familiarize yourself with your market. In a lot of cities, not all, because they all set up differently. A lot of times in this quote unquote suburban areas, you're just not going to get away with it for whatever reason. Where it is that part of the city is taking them down as far as the city workers, whether it's people that live there, real estate agents, or combination of them all. So what you want to do, you want to get out. Bandit signs are nothing new. The larger the city, the more likely you're going to see them. A lot of times you can get away with them in the areas that, well, I like to say you're going to see on the news every night. And then maybe the next level up, right? But again, each city is different. But so you're going to have to get out. Sometimes you're going to have to get, well, I know sometimes you're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone. So I would locate that area. A lot of people, even though I tell them this, and I say this on so many videos, I have students and nuns that come. I put out banners. I'm like, where did you put them? I put them in this. Were there any other signs there? Well, no. I know you want to be by yourself. I understand that. But again, the bandit signs are nothing new. A lot of guys that do this, they've already tested those areas, and they're just wasting your time, because you got to get some life out of them. Or if you're going to do it, as Renika suggests a lot, you're going to do it on the weekend and go pick them back up, do it. But you have to just do it, be consistent with it, because then people get used to seeing them on the weekend or whatever, and it should start generating some calls. But as I said, you can probably get away with it in certain parts of your market versus others. I like to do a lot of stuff off freeway exits. When you're coming off the exit, you normally got to stop at a traffic light and or stop sign. I'm going to position there where people can see it, because you're going to get a lot of times off freeway exits, you get people coming off from all over your market or whatever, for whatever reason. So it just depends on how your city is laid up. Some cities don't have freeways to run through them like that, but in the larger cities, all of them do. So you just got to be smart about it. Well, I like to say, you want to be on some of the main drags, but that not as much as you think, because those are easy for people to pull them down. You want to do some within the neighborhoods. As I said, freeway exits, shopping centers like Walmart, Target, or whatever. Bank drive-throughs, fast food drive-throughs, if the opportunity allows itself to happen with fast food, either where you order the food, pick it up, and or exit the parking lot. So, but just think, just be creative with it. Can this person or can people see my message even if they don't want to see it? That's what you have to always think about. Plus, always where they have to stop. You don't ever want to put signs where they can't stop at some point. So stop sign, intersections, and or traffic lights.
Elizabeth Williams, I'm going to read your question, but I heard you. I said Hope with an R. I said her. Hope. Her question is, who do you contact in the city to find out where it is legal to post the bandit signs? You better not call nobody, Elizabeth. Don't call nobody.
Also, well, you know what?
It's never illegal.
Yeah. I don't care what city, what state, what county, they are going to have laws on the books against bandit signs. You don't have to call.
Don't call.
You don't have to call.
Don't call.
They already is there. Whether they enforce it or not is the question. Like a lot of things, whether they enforce it or not is the question. You don't have to do bandit signs. We just mentioned it because we know it's an effective way of generating leads. It's not for everybody. You know that it is a very effective way.
That you're breaking the law.
Go ahead, Renee. I took the floor.
No, that's good. If you're scared that you're breaking the law, that may not be the technique you want to use.
Yes, I don't know if I could have put it any better.
I couldn't. Thank you, Miss Goody Two Shoes. Okay,
if you're about that life, then put your sign.
About that life, put it on top of the elect or whoever. Put it on top of their sign, and then when they call you and say, hey, that's illegal, say, well, it wasn't illegal for sheriff who's running.
Right, the mayor to put their stuff out.
Right. So
the senator put theirs out.
Right. You gonna call them too? You call them the local judge and tell them to take it down? Right. So be fair about it. Be fair.
This is honesty.
Don't do that, y'all. I ain't that gay. I'm not that gay myself.
Don't do that.
No, I'm not. And Shanita Archie, just give you a shout out. She did call, and her husband, and got their signs. And they got their Flipman discount. If you don't know what we're talking about, she got the gator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put my baby on the bandit signs. They ain't gonna do nothing to the little baby. They're gonna be like, oh, she's so cute. Tell your mama I said. If you're looking for a place to get signs, dirt cheap signs, flippinars.com. Go there, design it, get the number, and call. Do not place your order online, because if you do call, you can ask to speak with Christina or possibly any other operator that answers, and mention Tyler Flipman, and you can get a small but reasonable discount off of your order. So just keep that in mind if vendor signs are going to be the option for you. Yellow Kid on Instagram wants to know, what do you think of cold calling?
I mean, it's a technique. I mean, there's strategies. It's not just one strategy. I could never sit here and tell you that I just used one strategy and it worked. It's never just one. It's hedging multiple strategies. And, you know, cold calling isn't for everybody. Everybody doesn't want to sit down and cold call. That's not what, you know, so you find which marketing strategy works for you. Cold call is a great option if that's something that you don't mind doing.
All right. Okay, go ahead. We have a question from Ms. Israel. Read aloud.
How long do title searches in Georgia, and typically how long do you tell the seller it'll take to you to close?
Okay, so how long does it typically take for a title search in Georgia, and how long do you tell a seller it takes for you to close?
Okay, so that's a very great question. It just doesn't have to be Georgia. This can be anywhere, no matter where you are. But it usually takes I would say 3 to 5 days to run title. But you want to align your closing date with your in buyer closing date. So although it can close in a week, but if your in buyer timeline is 3 weeks, then you need to tell your original seller that it's going to take us 3 weeks to close. So never really tell the seller the exact time it takes, because remember, you're trying to align your AD contract up with your BC contract, which is your end buyer. So like I say, if your end buyer is on a 3 week closing, then tell the original seller that we're going to need 3 weeks to close. But technically, 3 to 5 days, you can pull title, and the attorney can pull title and clear title. And some is even quicker than that. But.
All right, Terry Barr on YouTube. Hey, Flip, I'm working on closing my first deal thanks to you. I love reading those comments, y'all. Yeah. Yes. He says, do you have, or she, do you have any charities that you give to? And if so, I would love to give back on your behalf. What do I need to do if that's possible? Now, I think, Terry, the best thing that you can do as far as giving back, barring charity, is to teach somebody else. Get your kids involved. Keep doing it. Help somebody else get over it. You know somebody who's struggling, who needs something. Not everybody's gonna take advantage of this, but if you can make this work and you get a check and you can prove, hey, I'm telling you, no cash, no credit, it works. I got a check. Let me hip you to it. Let's work together. You can be a part of my squad. That's the best way you can give back ever. Wouldn't you agree? What you think?
1,000%. I agree 1,000%. I mean, pay it forward, give back, create your own charity. Say, hey, I'm gonna put 10% over here in the bank account, and I'm gonna go into my local community and help a family in need. Create your own charity. Put your money back into your own community. Finance someone to go to summer camp, a kid to go to summer camp or something. Create your own give back. But you're absolutely right. Pay it forward. It's the free information that is given, so people can go out here and build wealth in their family. So share this information with someone else. Show them how you began to build wealth. No money down in real estate. It's powerful.
Mm-hmm. What you think? You agree?
Oh yeah, I got a charity. It's FAMILY. That's spelled right.
Yeah, family.
They'll wear you. They will wear you out.
Hand out.
Hand out to your family. Help somebody.
I got family members with plenty of problems, but I get what you're saying.
We need our own charity. We our own charity, right?
Yeah.
Haven's House, and this is a question coming from the Wholesaling with the Flipman Facebook group, which I again encourage each and every one of you to take a moment and join. You have access over, let's see here. I said 16,000. Let me see what it really is.
So it's
17,000 plus members who are all a part of this wholesaling game. Post your questions, I guarantee. I'm not saying you're gonna get the right answer, but you're gonna get some answers that will help you on your journey if you're not able to join us on Thursdays, or if you're not able to get in contact with Flip, or you just need you utilizing all the free resources that we keep telling you about. Join that group. But the question there was from Haven, and it says there is no inspection period in the one-page contract. Shouldn't there be?
Well, you can add whatever you want to. I have an example of one video I did where there is an inspection period, so you can add anything you want, whatever you're going to be comfortable with on it. So that's totally up to you.
Is there a due diligence period in there?
The one-page contract I get, like I said, I've done like probably 4 of them over time, and one of them does have a due diligence period in there, which I guess technically the same thing as an inspection period. So
right.
So yeah, so you know, but you can add and edit, and I have a video to show you how to edit the video, edit the contract, using I like to use PDF Escape. I think it's titled Create Pro-like Contracts, and just put Flipman behind it. You should see that video.
All right, so let's see here.
They're still saying they can't hear, but they're here, but that's true. We can't fix it in the middle of this, so apologize.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that, guys. If you're it looks like it's from the wholesaling group. Just keep in mind, we are live on Instagram, we are live on YouTube, and I hate to say, hey, jump to another platform, but we have some that say they can hear, some say they can't. So just try another avenue of joining us. Appreciate you here. I just want to make sure that you're hearing this great information.
Yeah, you always better get the replay. Yeah. Everything normally is really fine on YouTube or whatever. It's just that it's sort of hard to coordinate the audio, being in different places. So, but we're trying. We'll figure it out.
Okay. C'est la vie on YouTube says, I'm interested in flipping commercial real estate. Is that still a big market if I make that my main business? What do you think, Renikia?
Absolutely. I mean, commercial is a big market. I feel that the same similar techniques that you do in residential, you can do in the commercial. The difference is that your buyers and your sellers is just not going to be, it's probably not going to be the ones that's going to be in and out neighborhoods and looking at signs and things of that nature. So you just got to find different ways to connect with buyers and sellers, or at least connect with buyers of commercial properties, because they're most likely not going to be the ones that's going to call your signs. These are going to be high net worth clients. These are going to be business owners, real seasoned investors type of clients, and those type of people just in different atmospheres. And you have to put yourself in those atmospheres to look for buyers. But sellers is very similar. Hey, you go around, you see a shopping center that's boarded up. It's the same technique. You go to our multifamily or something of nature. You'll go to the tax records, pull up the address, and try to contact and locate the seller and see if they want to sell. So finding it is a very similar technique, but finding the buyer to actually buy, you got to put yourself in different circles to find commercial buyers.
Yeah, to add to that, if you got a buyer and seller in place, closing the deal, as far as if you're talking about wholesaling, I'm assuming that's what he was referring to. The deal is the same. You got both under contract, and the numbers make sense. But getting to that point is different than houses, so especially when you start talking about evaluating a commercial property. Comps just are not going to be valued the same as just looking at what the property either is currently producing in income and or what it can produce in income. So it's just evaluated different. Like she said, just putting out signs, we buy commercial, that ain't gonna work. You have to, it's just a totally different animal. Because then like houses, you just have houses. And I guess you can go with condos or townhouses or whatever, but With commercial, you have multifamily, 5 units or more. You have retail centers. You have medical office. Then you have office. You have hotels, motels, self-storage. You have industrial. What am I missing? Obviously, raw land. You have a single tenant, which would be a retail. So it's different levels of it just in themselves. And a lot of them are evaluated similar to the same, but then even when you get into that, they're evaluated the same as far as what potential is there. Because in most cases, most commercial real estate is just how much income can it produce. That's what the end game is for most investors in the commercial game, is how much income can it produce. Whether that's short term for them or long term, how much income can it produce?
Okay. Stefan Moore says he signed his first wholesale deal contract this week. Way to go. It's in Decatur, Georgia. The seller is asking $265,000. The ARV or comps in that area ranges from $450 to $899. Would you include the comps that are higher or keep it low? That's way too big of a gap, first of all. You want to narrow that in. So, Renika, what's your suggestion with comps that wide?
Okay, so what was the spread?
$450 to $899.
$450, $899. And in East Atlanta, you would definitely see that. So you want to kind of make sure that you are comparing apples with apples. Sometimes the ones on the low end could be someone bought the property and they just renovated as is. They didn't pop the top. They didn't add an extra bedroom. They didn't add an extra bathroom. They just renovated the 3-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet home. And then on the $899 spectrum, it could be the ones that was actually renovated. They popped the top, they went up a story, they added a bed, a bath in there. So with that being said, they could sell it at the $899. So you want to determine what are your exit strategy? Are someone just going to renovate the property as is and not add a bedroom or bath? Are they going to do the whole 9 yard, pop the top, add a bed and bath, make it bigger, turn that 1,000 square foot home into a 2,500 square feet home to sell it at the 900? So determine your exit strategy and then make sure you are comparing it with the type of property that you're going to renovate.
Okay, so Stefan, just make sure basically that the comps are matching with what you have for 265. On paper, I guess on numbers, it looks good, but that may not be so. And I love it when she said pop a top. I'm going to buy me a house and pop the top. I'm going to be doing things when I do that. And I'm going to buy a car that I can pop the top.
You found the top on the house. That's what I'm talking about. That's our little terminology out here. But that's, if for anyone that don't know what pop the top means, that's when you buy a 1-story home and you pretty much demo the roof and you go up. So that's pretty much popping the top. You add in a 2nd story on top of the roof.
Well, you got to think about, I guess if enough people watch the little flip shows when people don't have enough yard and like you can't go out.
Exactly.
You can always go up. You can always go up. So limitless going that way. So yeah, you got a question for us from Instagram?
Yes.
Read aloud, please.
If the estimated value of the house is $20K, but the average comps are $40K, is that a good place to wholesale or not?
Okay, so the house is $20K, but the average comps are $40K. Is that a good place to wholesale?
It depends on the renovations. I mean, if a renovation is $50,000, then obviously someone probably won't buy it because it's more than the value of the property. The renovation is $10,000, and then it may make sense. But if the renovation is $20,000, it really depends on, in my opinion, the exit strategy. So for a property that you can pick up for $20,000 that need $10,000 to $20,000 worth of work could be a buy and hold type of property. So there may be an investor who see the value in holding it. So it could be a deal to him. But if you're looking to flip it out, it's all going to depend on the renovations.
All right. Let's see here. Going to our Facebook group, and we're going to go to a "Is it a deal?" question from Brandon Kennard. He has a seller that has a home on Zillow that's a 3.2. He checked out the house, and it's actually a 5.2 with no permits pulled. The Zillow 3.2 ARV is 141. She wants 70, and it needs less than 30,000 repairs. The ARV in the area for a 3.2 or 4.2 is up to 160. And he wants to know, is that a deal? Now, it seems like the ARVs, you just mentioned this earlier, apples to apples. He's getting ARVs for a 3.2 when it's actually a 5.2. So what does he do there? First of all,
let's describe it. The bedrooms matter, but it's really the actual living area.
Mhm.
You know, that's per square footage, per sale, per square foot is what is going to matter. The 5.2, the 5.232, it matters, but in the sense that it may be more attractive to a family. But if the square footage on a 3.2 is the same as the square footage on a 5.2, you know, it's the square footage is square footage. So that's what it's going to be more based on. And sometimes depending on the county, the records may not be accurate on what the actual square footage of the property, because sometimes people add on to properties and don't go pull permits on it. And so the county haven't updated what it actually may be or whatever. So check out what the square footage is compared to the others. But if they're wanting 70, even if we went with the 141 and she wants 70, he said the repairs were 30.
30. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's close to being a deal for sure. You know, that's 40. No, you hadn't gotten paid out of it, but that's still right at over 40,000.
What is 7% of the 140?
Yeah, it's 70% of 141 is 98,000, and subtract 30,000, so you're at 68. So yeah, you know that's
so she asking 70. That is a deal at 70. So you probably have to create your spread.
Yeah.
And sell it for 70, but see if you could put it in the contract at maybe about 60, and just be able to create a little spread in that.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask a question from the. Y'all over here negotiating snacks. I ain't gonna be here next week.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Donnie Coxton's question from the Facebook group, but I'm gonna tie it into another question from LL Cool J. Hey, let's see here. Donnie says, "What's up, family, and my baby Renikia?" Wow, really? Okay. But I'm in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm on the fence about this property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet on 7 acres of wooded buildable land. It's tax appraised at $176K. The land is 100 and the house is 76. The ARV is around 200. It was just renovated, so the repairs are low, a 5K max. The delusional seller, why they gotta be delusional, is asking $375K, including the land.
Why you didn't read this question?
Well, I didn't get to it.
What?
Okay, well, listen.
Go ahead.
My question is, could I purchase the property and sell the land separate, and would it be smart? Or is it possible to just purchase just the house and he keep the acreage?
This is funny.
To keep for himself?
No, I think he's trying to flip it.
Well,
Wholesale it.
you cannot just purchase a house without purchasing the land.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Okay.
You can't purchase a house without purchasing the land. Like it just comes together.
Well,
unless it's like a mobile home, but I'm assuming it's probably not a mobile home.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I guess they could. I've done this on a deal before. It was like 3 acres, and you know that's what they were taking that in consideration of the property. I said, well, we can survey and we can split, and you know, we keep a half an acre, you all keep that other 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
Oh, the land is basically worthless to me, or whatever. Right. And they were willing to do that. So, so it could be that situation, but I think in this situation, the seller's definitely taking in consideration his 7 acres as part of the property at 375, and I'm assuming you're only showing comps around 200 or whatever. So you're really not comparing like to like, because he's taking in consideration his land. And like you say, you can't sell it without the land. You know, it just, you know. Well, I guess you could sell the structure and they move it, but who does that?
Who does that?
Okay,
yeah,
so Donnie, ultimately you don't have much there. Yeah,
he's just gonna have to give it up. You could, I mean, like you said, it's apples to apples. See, there are other properties in the area that has a lot of land, and see how much you're selling it for. You know.
Okay. Well, I mentioned that because we were talking about the land and the house, and you can't take the house without the land. But LL mentioned that we don't really talk that much about mobile homes. Why and how do you go about wholesaling those? And actually, Ty does mention, I would say like maybe every other week somebody asks about that. But I know the first comparison that he gives you is that a mobile home is like a car. And the values just, you know, depreciates very quickly. And also with the mobile home, most likely the owner has the title right there. Now, the previous question at the very beginning of the show was, how do I tell the owner that they're not getting their money today? Well, that doesn't apply with the mobile home. A mobile home, that owner can get their money right then and there, and the deal is done. The title's over with. You just hand it over. It's over with. So, Ranikia, what about wholesaling mobile homes?
I mean, I think it's the same as wholesaling a residential property. You just got to have a mobile home buyer. You know, if a mobile home seller sell it for $10,000, you got a mobile home buyer that want to buy it for $20,000, you got a deal. I think it's just a matter of, and one of the reasons why you don't talk about it as much, because there's not a lot of mobile home parks. So, you know, there's not a lot of mobile home activity going on. So your buyer pool is a lot less when you do locate one of these mobile homes and try to have to find a mobile home buyer. It's just your pool is a lot less because there's a lot less people that want to purchase a mobile home. So,
input.
Oh, if you could find a great deal, you could find a buyer. Normally, if you have mobile home dealers that actually sell like new units and new and used, just like a car lot, normally they will be interested, you know, in purchasing. That's where you can start. Pretty much any market is going to have those types of dealers. It's just position yourself to make sure you get paid, because again, it'll be like trying to wholesale a car, right? And the owner has the title. They don't need you in the sense of there's not going to be a closing, because they write up a bill of sale and bam, the title is theirs, cash, you know. So it's the same thing. So you have to be very creative in making sure you're positioning yourself between the seller and the actual potential buyer, because a contract won't mean nothing, you know, because they got the title in hand. There's no closing process. You know, the closing process is what prevents a buyer in a house transaction from going around you as easy. Let me just say, because it still can happen. But closing process, and no savvy buyer is going to spend money without going through a closing the deal, whether it's with an attorney and or a title company, and going through the title process and making sure they get title insurance. With a mobile home, that's not necessary. So it can be done. It's just making sure you position yourself where you ensure that you get paid, you know. So, and that's probably going to be keeping the seller and the buyer away from each other in some form or fashion. Good luck.
Okay. Yeah, I just
Good luck with that.
KMD Property Investments on YouTube says, I'm a newbie. I got a deal. Got a cash buyers list from Dealulator called about 45. You mean 45 numbers with no luck. I'm in Baltimore. My ARV is 170K. The repairs are 50, asking 47. What are some other ways to find buyers? Is 45 a reasonable number for Baltimore?
What did she say she did?
She called 45 prospects, possible cash buyers.
Well, understand whenever you do the cash buyer feature in the prop string, aka Dealulator, vice versa, is that those are people that actually spend cash on a property. Doesn't mean they're automatically investors, but it's normally going to, especially in a market like Boston, it's going to give you such a huge list if you go in and put in the right criteria. Say if you pull a list of 200 of them, if you get 5 buyers out of that list, that is an accomplishment. You know, like real investors that, hey, here, send me whatever you got. I buy this there, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be. So just understand what that really means. But if you truly have a deal, what were the numbers on it?
50 repairs, 47. So 97 with 170 ARV.
170, that should be a decent. So you shouldn't have a problem finding a buyer. You start with your real groups. You can start obviously just posting on Craigslist. Some markets is free, some is not. I guess it's by own, I'm not sure, but Craigslist. You reach out to other wholesalers in the market, right? And one of the ways you can reach out to other wholesalers is just by simply doing a Google search, and you can find the real players in there because they're spending a ton of money to get noticed on Google search. They're using AdWords, which is the paid option to get noticed on Google, and just do a search, sell my house, buy my house fast, we buy houses in there. So you're going to see all those listings come up. Those are going to either be investors and or, well, wholesale is investor. Those are going to be actual cash buyers and or wholesalers. You start there, you probably, especially in a market like Boston, you'll be able to build a list just from that. And if your numbers are right, you shouldn't have any problem moving that property. Any problem. You should make 20 grand off that. You know, it shouldn't have any problem moving it.
Okay. Lakia Elay wants to know, should I write my name and address on envelopes for mailing letters? I don't feel comfortable using my name and my address. Too many ways around that, Lakia. But what's the answer, Renikia?
I would definitely not use my name and my address. I will use a business name and a business address. If you don't want to use your personal address, there's always P.O. Box that you can get to protect your address that you can use. Sometimes you don't have to use a returning address. What do you suggest, Ty?
I would suggest that exactly what you just said, but if you don't want to use a P.O. box, you want to use an actual street address, you can always get a UPS store box, because they're going to provide you an actual address with a suite number. So it's going to appear to be, well, it is a business, but it's going to be a business number. So you can always do that. And UPS store is not the only game in town that does that, but any of those mail service type places where they, will accept your packages, you can ship stuff, print stuff. Normally they're going to have boxes that they can offer you, but I know UPS store, have I've been using them for years. So,
you mentioned that they're not the only game in town. That's I'm sure not just where I'm from, but that's a big thing that the places are offering. Temporary offices. Is the big offices downtown?
What is it called? Regis. Regis is one of the more known ones.
Yeah,
which is like $50.
Down, you pay a monthly fee, but you get an address, you get a mailbox, you get a secretary that answers your number, and you get a meeting space if you need it. You pay a little bit more.
It's like $50 a month.
Huh?
It's like $50 a month.
Yeah, it's $50, but it's like when it looks so professional because hey, meet me in my office downtown and such and such. Oh, this is a nice little building. Right. Yeah, knowing that they don't know that you're not there all the time. You're working from home, but as far as your structure, that's where they meet you, and that's where your mail goes, and that's where they're calling. And so, I mean, there's too many ways around that. You don't have to use your name and your address. That just shouldn't be a problem. We got other problems. Went down on Instagram, coming back up. Emmanuel Finch on Facebook has a question. His question is, where can I get financing?
Yes, that's a great question. So we do provide multiple financing options. We are the #1 source for creative financing. And what I mean by that is a lot of times people don't realize how much money it do take to find, fix, and flip your real estate properties outside of wholesaling. So if you did want to get to that point where you want to find, fix, and flip, we do have hard money options, and we also have an option to help you take care of your down payment that is needed to secure a hard money loan. A hard money lender will give you the money to purchase and the money to rehab. So you don't have to worry about that. All they want is you to bring 10 to 20% down payment to the table. And if you don't have that 10 to 20%, we will show you how to leverage your credit to get that 10 to 20% so you can find, fix, and flip your real estate.
Right, Emmanuel. So I hope you heard that. We have ways to get you financed, creative financing through no other than our beautiful Miss Renicia Williams. So no reason there either, guys. We got you covered across all levels. There's no reason for you not to be making money. Michaela, you got a question coming from a viewer. What is it?
How can I start wholesaling today?
That's simple enough. How can I start wholesaling today?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Ty, if they want to start wholesaling right now at this moment, what's the top 3 things?
With no money. I ain't got no money, though.
They have no money. They want to start right now at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first thing you need to do is you got to educate yourself in some form or fashion. Now, I have my platform where I give the information away here on YouTube. It's over 250 videos. That's an option. But if you don't want to take that option, that's fine. There are plenty of other options out there. But you got to educate yourself first. You got to know what you're doing. It seems like the most difficult thing for a lot of people, and I'm not sure why, and I've been trying to work on something maybe a little more simple than the formula that we normally give people, is just figuring out what's a great deal and what's not a great deal. That seems like that's just such a tremendous struggle for people. I have several videos on it, but so you got to educate yourself first. A couple of things I would avoid if I were you starting out. I know you get excited about things in your life that you think can change your financial situation, but if you talk to someone about pretty much anything, but definitely this, and they tell you can't do this, blah, 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 whatever, make that be the last conversation that you have with them about this, because they don't know what they're talking about. They do not. When I finally got interested in this 15 plus years ago, I say, this man can't be lying about all of this. So it would be just basically saying all the people that you see on YouTube and all these other platforms, everybody lying. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're telling you. You can't do that. Especially if they broke. I ain't listening to nobody broke.
Right.
Not about no money. We might talk about something else, but not about money. I'm not listening to nobody. Especially if they broker than me, I'm not listening. You know what I'm saying? I'm very courteous person. I may look like I'm listening, but I'm really not listening. So, but that being said, you want to educate yourself. But even when you educate yourself, because a lot of people probably they're more knowledgeable than I am, and I've been doing it. I have made money doing it, but they haven't taken any action. The knowledge is worthless if you're not putting it into action. But I'm just saying, it just, you got to take action. You got to actually do something. And I know you want everything to be perfect. You want to have this or that. You're afraid of making mistakes. mistakes are one of the best things that can happen to you. And one of the great things about starting out in real estate and wholesaling is that if you make a mistake, it doesn't put you in the poorhouse, or it shouldn't. You know something wrong if it does. But the mistakes that happen, those are going to be experiences that are going to be more valuable than anything that I can teach you, because it came from actual experience. So educate yourself, take action, and the last thing is understand this business. There's no magic wand that I'm waving. There's no magic gator that I'm waving. This business boils down to lead generation. Getting your phone to ring with sellers, which hope some of them are motivated sellers, and or you ringing their phone saying, "Hey, are you interested in buying houses?" I got talked in. I hate cold calling, but a couple of days ago, a couple of days ago, somebody that I think a lot of convinced me. Hey, she said, you need to be doing it yourself. Even though I get people to do it for me, so I'm going to start doing more of that myself. But my point is that you got to overcome your fears of what you don't like or what you do like or whatever, and just get over that stuff, man. These just people that you're talking to, they're no better than you are. Either they're going to do it your way or they're not. If they're not going to do it your way, you just move on. It's really that simple. So educate yourself, take action, and understand the business boils down to lead generation. I don't know if any of that made sense. I was rambling, but I tried.
No, it made sense.
That was good. That was really good.
You could have said take advantage of the videos, join the group, all that stuff. But
I thought I said that.
No.
I ain't said that? Okay.
Well,
that's education. That was in number one. Educate yourself.
Yeah. So you did. We have been on for an hour plus. So at this moment, I do tell you, I appreciate you coming. I see some are having to log off. We are here every Thursday. You back, Kurt?
No.
Oh, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, across all platforms.
Remember you can get the t-shirts on the end of the video. Just hit the button that says shop.
Yes. Okay. Wanted to remind you of that. I was getting to it, but I was going to plug it my way. Wholesaling can change your life, real estate, your credit, all of that. Use it to your advantage so you can drop the mic on your 9 to 5. Don't go into work tomorrow cussing nobody out now. Anybody there? You'll check first and make sure you get your living expenses together.
Get a couple checks.
Right. Get over those fears, because Darren said closed mouths don't get fed. And we talk about it weekly about they. Don't listen to they. The haters
elevate you.
Yes. Elevate you. That's who they are, because they're not going to use their negativity to boost your game up. So we're going to read 2 questions from all platforms, and then we will close it out. So without further ado, JD on Facebook says, question: what if the seller has a lien of $70K? Should I sell for $135? The price for homes in the area are upwards of $200K. Also, is it bad to send a mock contract to the distressed seller to attract them more to the deal, or is that a no-go? So, not sure what went from 70 to 135, but maybe he's calculating. I don't know.
What the seller has on. Okay, first of all, we want to figure out what the seller wants for the property. If the property is worth, when you say upwards of 200K, you have to be very specific in your numbers, because upwards, that could be 220, that could be 280. That could, so the down to the T matters. So if it's 200,000, I would say no. If it's 250,000, I would say yes. But also, should you sell it for 135? Yes, you have a possibility to sell it for 135, depending on if it's 250, 280, 200,000. The highest also want to determine what those repairs are, how much it's going to take to repair that property to sell it for the ARV amount, that will matter how much you're gonna sell the property for as well. I don't know what you mean, a mock contract. Send them a contract. Send them a real contract. Not for sure what you mean on mock. Send him a real contract that he can sign, even at the lower price.
Okay. So JD, hope that got you there. Emmanuel wants to know, hey, everybody, open up your ears, close your mouth, get your pen and paper out. How do I get in contact with you about financing? Tell them one more time, Renika, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, great question. So each and every one of you all, if you want to take advantage of leveraging your credit to secure up to $150,000, and that just really to secure that down payment that is needed to buy and sell or secure a hard money loan. If you want to get in touch with me, you can go to fundmynextdeal.com. That'll get you to Ty's website, which will give you access to my website. From there, all you have to do is just submit your information on an unsecured tab, and you're going to get instructions on how to get started with that. I am also on all social media platforms, my first and last name. If you have any question and getting that instruction email, just DM me or anything or ask me a question, or you can give a call to my office and my office manager will walk you through those steps as well.
Okay. Again, if all else fails, Ms. Renika Williams is available across all social media platforms. Shouldn't be hard to find her, locate her. And as always, these videos are available to rewind, listen to, stop, pause as soon as we're done. And Ty is actually available across other streaming platforms such as.
Don't forget the podcast. You can access through iHeart and iTunes. Just go there and do a search for the Flip Man, or you can go to flipmanpodcast.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the notifications so you are alerted whenever we go live and whenever I upload new videos, along with the Facebook group, which as of to date, we're over 17,000 strong in there, and I guess still growing. So a lot of ways to get this information, but it's up to you. We're just the GPS. We can tell you where to go exactly, but you got to drive. You got to get there yourself. The only thing we are is just a tool that tell you where to go to get this bread, but you got to do the driving.
I like that.
Okay, question from YouTube, pulling two from there. None Weather says, the houses in the area, he asked the question earlier, this is a tag on it about, he said the houses were going for 20, but the ARVs were around 40. He wants to know, should he target that area? He asked because they're being sold for less than 10. He's in Flint, and Flint is on the upswing going through gentrification. Would it be best to target the Flint area for that reason?
Now that's a good one. I think this falls down. You can't go wrong buying a $10,000 property. It's just, especially if it's a property that you don't have to tear down. But I would say you want to find for that area. I would say you want to find a end buyer that is more of a buy and hold, who's not really looking for a quick flip, because that's an area that may take 5 to 10 years to roll over. Where people began to move back into that area. I mean, something's wrong with the water still and all types of stuff. So I would definitely target that area, but your exit strategy is probably going to be an end buyer who wants to buy a home.
Okay. Demetrius Hill says, I need help doing comps and ARVs and how to wholesale pretty houses. I guess because everybody has it in their mentality when you're wholesaling the boarded up, vacant, abandoned, trees growing up house. Not necessarily the case, but most of them can be ugly. So is there a different method for the pretty houses, or is it the same idea?
It's the same. Either the numbers work or they don't. It's just that simple. The repairs on a pretty house may be $2,500, but the numbers still have to work or whatever. So it's relative. It's just like You're dealing with $700,000-$800,000 houses. It still got to be cheap enough, regardless. Taking into consideration what the renovations will be, which normally renovations may be a little bit more expensive just because of what's expected with countertop, flooring, that type of things versus a house in a $70,000 neighborhood. So, but it's all relative whether it's pretty or ugly. The numbers just have to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Smith wants to know, and this question is going to be, Ty just mentioned it about educating yourself and knowing when it is a deal. What are some options to get rid of this property? I have a family member in financial distress, ARV of 76.9 with a HELOC loan balance of 72. Already received notice of default. Any suggestions? So you're going to get the phone calls and you're going to want to help.
Well, yeah, 77. It said if it's worth 76 and they owe 72, I guess you could, depending on the condition of the property. It may be some investors that would take you that off your hand. They'll just catch up the payments and do a subject to, you deed it over to them, or the family member deeds it over to them, or they may do a lease option or whatever and catch up the payments. But it's just going to depend on the condition of the property and how attractive it is. But it may be some investors out there that even may want to take on a short sale situation, may be able to get a short sale. Now, if you're trying to do it yourself, that's one thing. But I'm just saying, if you're just trying to get a solution on it, maybe some investors that may, keep that foreclosure off their record. Let me just say that. But what do you think, baby girl?
What you said.
Oh, y'all starting that again. Oh, no, we at the end.
100%.
Let me pull my question from Instagram. Final question, Colt Jr. When you find a foreclosure list of properties, what's the next step and how far in foreclosure is too far?
Okay. First and foremost, if it's already hit the foreclosure list, that means that you're going to have a different tactic. You're going to have to double close it. So make sure you take that in consideration, because you cannot assign a property that is currently owned by the bank. They will not approve a HUD with an assignment fee in it. So you will have to double close it, first and foremost. Foreclosure list is never, what's too far is once it gets to the auction block and they auction it off and someone buy it. But prior to them auctioning off, you can purchase it. And if they do get to the auction block and no one buys it, it goes back to the lender and it goes back on the auction block the next month, the following month. So you have until someone buy the property to purchase a foreclosure home.
All right. I hope that answered your question there in regards to the foreclosure homes. We're about to close out. We appreciate each and every one of you being here today. Mary Moore, yes, Ty does offer an unlimited support package, but she wants to know what's included in that.
Yeah, the question that you're asking, yes, it is included.
Mary Moore, yes. The answer is yes. And Corey wants to know when you come to Georgia. He wants to know, he wants to show Columbus, Georgia. He wants to show you what's going on. He says big opportunities there. Yeah.
Corey.
I don't know.
Is that my Corey from Columbus?
Corey Griffin.
Is that Corey Griffin? What's going on, Corey?
See, Corey.
Hey, I'm selling it for Corey right now. We got a 26 unit under contract in Columbus. We have a 12 unit under contract in Columbus, all closing this month. Corey's down there doing his thing. Absolutely.
Oh, big thanks, Corey. Hey, Corey. Back in the check. Yes. Well, again, thank you all for joining us today. We will be here next week. Keep in mind that you can reach out to tyflipman.net. Join the Facebook group with over 17,000 members. I keep saying that. It's called Wholesaling with the Flip Man. Wholesaling real estate with the Flip Man. Learn as much as you can, guys. The real estate, you're always going to need a place to stay. It's always going to be bought. It's always going to be sold. It's always going to be lost. It's always going to, real estate isn't going anywhere. You can change your life with it. And we'll say it again, you can drop the mic on your 9 to 5 with wholesaling. Get you a shirt. It's available under the YouTube video. You can click it there. Renikia, tell the good folks out here in the virtual world back. Ty say back. Mickey say back.
Next week.
You got to say something. What do you have to say?
When
We don't have it. We're not taking any more questions. You got to say. What's the name?
Renetta, aka Auntie Riri.
Auntie Riri deboned the system by sending private questions. Hey, Auntie Riri. All right, guys. We'll see you all next week. Make sure to join us on the Flippinar. Thank you. Bye, Veronica. Good night, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Oh, you know what I forgot? Did you close this out everywhere?
No.
Really?
No.
Hey guys, I cannot tell you the specific day, but just last week somebody got a year older. So everybody stop and make sure you sing happy birthday to Ty the Flipman Taylor.
Wow.
But maybe a little more than 30. So somewhere in between there.
Okay.
He did celebrate a birthday. So
Happy birthday, Ty.
Yes,
Let me find out you're a Cancer. Oh, no, you're not a Cancer.
All right, guys, that's all I got. We'll see you all on the flip side. Bye-bye.